Cincinnati and San Francisco put on an absolute slugfest at Oracle Park, with the Reds surviving a 10-9 shootout fueled by a two-homer night from Héctor Rodríguez, while blowouts and streak milestones piled up across the rest of the slate. The Tampa Bay Rays blanked the Detroit Tigers 3-0 on the road, riding a strong start from Freddie Peralta and a clean bridge to the bullpen. Peralta was outstanding, working 6 shutout innings while striking out 4, and Tyler Wells slammed the door with a perfect ninth to lock up the save. Offensively, Tampa Bay spread the damage around. Chandler Simpson, Johnny DeLuca, Liam Hicks, Jonathan Aranda, Junior Caminero, and Cedric Mullins all picked up hits, giving the Rays more than enough support behind their ace. Detroit's lineup, by contrast, managed just 2 hits on the day from Brett Callahan and Dylan Dingler and could never find any rhythm against Peralta. It was a clean, efficient road win for Tampa Bay and a frustrating afternoon offensively for the Tigers, who were shut out at home in front of just over 21,000 fans. The Arizona Diamondbacks edged the Chicago Cubs 2-0 behind a dominant start from Eduardo Rodriguez, who struck out 9 batters over 7 scoreless innings to pick up the win. Jordan Lawler provided all the offense Arizona would need, launching a home run and finishing as one of just a handful of Diamondbacks with a hit, along with Nolan Arenado, Geraldo Perdomo, and James McCann. Juan Murillo closed things out with a scoreless inning to secure the save. Chicago's lineup struggled to generate anything against Rodriguez, managing only 2 hits from Tyrone Taylor and Pete Crow Armstrong, with Taylor adding a stolen base as the lone bit of manufactured offense. It was a pitcher's duel decided by one Lawler swing, and Rodriguez's near-complete game effort was the headline in a tightly played, low-scoring affair in the desert. The wildest game of the day, the Cincinnati Reds outlasted the San Francisco Giants 10-9 in a back-and-forth slugfest that featured 5 home runs and a parade of clutch hitting from both sides. Cincinnati got the difference-making blast from Héctor Rodríguez, who launched 2 home runs and drove in a pair while going 3 for 6 at the plate, an electric, fantasy-worthy line that made him the offensive story of the night. Eugenio Suarez also went deep for the Reds, while Elly De La Cruz turned in a 3 for 6 night with a stolen base, and Dane Myers matched him at 3 for 4 with a steal of his own. Matt McLain chipped in a steal as well as Cincinnati ran wild on the base bats. San Francisco countered with 3 home runs of its own. Jonah Cox, Shea Whitcomb, and Rafael Devers each went deep, and Turner Hill paced the Giants lineup with a 3 for 4 performance. Despite matching Cincinnati homer for a stretch, the Giants couldn't hold the lead as Tony Santillan worked around 3 earned runs to pick up the win, and Emilio Pagan slammed the door with a save. It was a rare, quiet night for Sal Stewart, who went hitless and saw his 10-game hit streak come to an end in the loss. With 5 homers, double-digit runs on both sides, and a 2-homer game from Rodriguez, this shootout in San Francisco was the most statistically loaded game of the entire slate. The Cleveland Guardians extended their win streak to 7 games with a 4-3 victory over the Los Angeles Angels, riding a short outing from starter Hunter Geddes that was enough to get the win before Eric Sabrowski closed it out with a save. Zach Neto, Vaughn Grissom, and Josh Lowe each had a hit for the Angels, with Lowe also swiping a bag, but it wasn't enough to overcome Cleveland's offense. For the Guardians, Angel Genao, Chase DeLauder, Nathaniel Lowe, Travis Bazzana, Brian Rocchio, Jose Ramires, and Stephen Quinn all recorded hits, with Ramires adding a stolen base. This marks Cleveland's 7th straight win, a hot streak that shows no signs of slowing down as they continue to roll through the schedule, while the Angels dropped to close 1 at home. The San Diego Padres blanked the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-0, getting a strong start from Randy Vasquez, who worked 5 scoreless innings with 2 strikeouts to earn the win. Rajly Rodriguez came on to finish things off, tossing 2 scoreless innings for the save. San Diego's offense got contributions throughout the lineup, with Luis Rengifo, Freddie Fermin, Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Ty France, and Jake Cronenworth all picking up hits, while Fermin also stole a base. Pittsburgh managed hits from Spencer Horwitz, Brian Reynolds, Esprelin Valdez, and Jared Triolo, but could never push a run across against the Padres' pitching staff. It was a clean, workmanlike shutout for San Diego, with Vasquez and the bullpen combining to blank the Pirates in front of a packed house of more than 40,000 fans at Petco Park. The Philadelphia Phillies rolled to a 6-0 shutout win over the Seattle Mariners, powered by a dominant start from Jesus Luzardo, who struck out 9 over 7 scoreless innings to earn the win. Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber both went deep for Philadelphia, and Bryson Stott had a big day at the plate, going 3 for 4. Justin Crawford, JT Realmuto, and Alec Bohm also chipped in hits as the Phillies lineup clicked on all cylinders. Seattle's offense, meanwhile, was held in check all afternoon, managing just 2 hits from Randy Arozarena and Johnny Pereda and never threatening to get on the board. With Luzardo's near-complete game effort headlining the day and 2 home runs from Harper and Schwarber providing the cushion, Philadelphia cruised to a lopsided road win at T-Mobile Park. The Miami Marlins shot out the Boston Red Sox 4-0 in a game defined as much by speed as by power. Javier Sanoja put together the standout performance, going 3 for 4 with an RBI while swiping 3 bases, and Otto Lopez chipped in 2 steals of his own as Miami ran wild on the bases. Heriberto Hernandez also stole a bag, giving the Marlins 6 total stolen bases in the win. Ryan Gusto turned in a strong start on the mound, working 5.2 shutout innings with 2 strikeouts to pick up the victory. Jacob Marcy, Xavier Edwards, and Kyle Stowers all added hits to the offensive effort. Boston's lineup managed only a handful of singles from Anthony Segler, Andrew Monasterio, Caleb Durbin, and Jarren Duran, and could never get anything going against Miami's pitching or its aggressive base-running attack. It was a complete team performance for the Marlins, headlined by Sanoja's 3-steal, multi-hit day. The Colorado Rockies exploded for 13 runs in a blowout 13-1 win over the Washington Nationals, powered by a 4-homer attack. Troy Johnston, Cole Carrick, Hunter Goodman, and Connor Norby all went deep for Colorado, while Tanner Gordon turned in a strong start, working 7 innings and allowing just 1 earned run with 5 strikeouts to earn the win. Jake McCarthy and Ezequiel Tovar each stole a base as the Rockies piled on offense from top to bottom, with Mickey Moniak, Willie Castro, Ryan Ritter, and TJ Rumfield also contributing hits. Washington's lone bright spot came from Andrés Chaparro, who went 3 for 4 with an RBI and hit a solo home run, but it was nowhere near enough to keep pace. Dylan Cruz, Jose Tina, and Harry Ford also had hits for the Nationals, but Colorado's offensive onslaught buried Washington early and often in a lopsided result. The New York Yankees pounded out a 9-3 win over the Houston Astros, getting home runs from Ben Rice and Luis Garcia Jr. to power the offense. Garcia Jr. had a huge day, going 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs, while Jez Kisham Jr. added a 3 for 3 performance with an RBI and a stolen base. Paul Blackburn picked up the win in relief, striking out 2 in a scoreless inning. Jose Caballero, Spencer Jones, Austin Wells, Cody Bellinger, and Trent Grisham also had hits as the Yankees lineup came through nearly top to bottom. Houston got a home run from Dalton Varsho along with hits from Jose Altu and Yordan Alvarez, but it wasn't enough to keep pace with New York's offensive explosion. It was a dominant, well-rounded win for the Yankees at home, with Garcia Jr.'s multi-RBI day and Kisham's all-around performance leading the way. The Toronto Blue Jays blanked the Kansas City Royals 3-0, getting a solo home run from Nathan Lukes that proved to be all the run support the pitching staff would need. Chad Dallas worked 2.2 scoreless innings with 4 strikeouts to earn the victory, and Louis Varland finished things off with a save, working 1.1 innings. Brett Bateman, George Springer, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Jesus Sanchez also chipped in hits for Toronto. Kansas City's offense managed hits from Carter Jensen, Tyler Talbert, Nick Lofton, John Rave, and Bobby Witt Jr., with Jensen and Talbert each stealing a base, but the Royals could never push a run across against Toronto's pitching staff. It was a quiet, efficient shutout win for the Blue Jays in front of over 42,000 fans at Rogers Center. The Milwaukee Brewers cruised to an 8-1 win over the New York Mets, getting a home run from Bryce Terang and a strong start from Robert Gasser, who worked 5.1 innings with 6 strikeouts while allowing just 1 earned run to pick up the win. Sal Frelick was the offensive standout, going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs, while Cooper Pratt and Luis Lara each stole a base for Milwaukee. Christian Yelich, Andrew Vaughn, Garrett Mitchell, and David Hamilton also had hits as the Brewers lineup did damage throughout. New York's lone highlight was a 2-steal game from A.J. Ewing, who also had a hit, and Francisco Alvarez, Brett Beatty, Carson Bench, Marcus Semien, and Jared Young picked up hits as well, but the Mets never got the big swing they needed against Milwaukee's pitching. It was a comprehensive road win for the Brewers, with Frelick's multi-RBI day and Gasser's strong start leading the way. The Atlanta Braves edged the Los Angeles Dodgers 6-5 in a back-and-forth slugfest that saw both teams trade home runs late. Matt Olson and Sean Murphy each went deep for Atlanta, with Murphy also going 3 for 4 with RBI and Drake Baldwin matching him at 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Tommy Edman answered with a home run for the Dodgers, and Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, and Hunter Fiducia all had hits, with Ohtani also stealing a base, but Los Angeles couldn't hold off Atlanta's offense down the stretch. Victor Medeiros worked a scoreless inning with 2 strikeouts to pick up the win for the Braves. Mauricio Dubon extended his hit streak to 7 straight games with a hit in the win, while Ozzie Albies and Lane Thomas each added a stolen base. It wasn't as fortunate for Michael Harris Roman II, who went hitless and saw his 9-game hit streak snapped in the victory. A tight, homer-filled affair that Atlanta pulled out late, capped by milestone streak news on both ends of the spectrum for the Braves. Chicago White Sox blasted their way to a 10-4 win over the Texas Rangers, getting home runs from Tristan Peters and Brenton Doyle to power the offense. Peters had a huge day, going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs, and Sean Newcomb picked up the win with 3 scoreless innings and a strikeout, while Jonathan Cain closed it out with a 3-inning save. Luis Angel Acuna, Chase Madroth, Braden Montgomery, Jake Rogers, Sam Antonacci, and Miguel Vargas all had hits for Chicago, with Vargas also stealing a base. Texas got a home run from Jock Pederson and Evan Carter. Wyatt Langford, Jake Berger, Ezequiel Zurin, and Brandon Nintle all chipped in hits, but it wasn't nearly enough to keep pace with Chicago's offensive outburst. It was a complete win for the White Sox, with Peters' multi-RBI, multi-hit day the headline performance. The Baltimore Orioles held off the St. Louis Cardinals 8-7 in a tight, back-and-forth slugfest. Leody Taveras and Pete Alonso both went deep for Baltimore, and Christian Encarnacion Strand had a monster night, going 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Grant Wolfram picked up the win in relief, and Andrew Kittredge closed things out with a scoreless save. Louis countered with a home run from Nolan Gorman, and Brian Torres went 3 for 3 with a stolen base, while Ivan Herrera added a 3 for 4 night, but it wasn't enough to complete the comeback. Alec Burleson kept his hit streak alive at 12 straight games with a hit in the loss, though the result extended a rough stretch for the Cardinals, who have now dropped 5 straight. Nathan Church also stole a base for St. Louis. It was a slugfest that came down to the final outs, with Baltimore's bullpen making the late lead stand up. The Athletics topped the Minnesota Twins 7-4 in a game that saw 4 total home runs. Lawrence Butler went deep for the Athletics, while Brooks Lee, Kalen Culpepper, and Trevor Larnach all homered for Minnesota, but the Twins couldn't overcome the deficit. Tommy White paced the Athletics' offense with a 3 for 4 day, and JT Ginn picked up the win despite allowing 4 earned runs over 6 innings with 3 strikeouts, with Elvis Alvarado closing things out for the save. Jonah Heim, Michael Stefanik, Jeff McNeil, Alec Williams, and Darrell Hernandez also had hits for the Athletics. Cody Clemens, Josh Bell, Alan Roden, and Ryan Jeffers chipped in hits for Minnesota, but 3 solo homers from the Twins weren't enough to erase the deficit built by the Athletics' balanced lineup. It was a homer-heavy affair that Oakland's club held on to late for the win. Louis Alec Burleson kept his hit streak alive at 12 straight games even in a loss to Baltimore, while the Cardinals themselves have now dropped 5 in a row. Cleveland kept rolling, extending its win streak to 7 games with a win over the Angels. And in Atlanta, Michael Harris Roman II saw his 9-game hit streak come to an end during the Braves' win over the Dodgers. Héctor Rodríguez was the fantasy headline of the day, launching 2 home runs and driving in a pair for Cincinnati in the win over San Francisco. Miami's speed duo of Javier Sonoja and Otto Lopez were must-add options after combining for 5 stolen bases, with Sonoja adding 3 steals and an RBI a day. Ewing gave Mets managers a bright spot with 2 steals of his own. And in that same Reds-Giants shootout, Elly De La Cruz turned in a 3 for 6 multi-hit performance worth watching for standings-conscious fantasy managers. That's a wrap on today's action around the majors. Hit subscribe so you never miss a recap of the games that matter.